Hello YouTubers, my name is X Factor. Welcome to some Battlefield 4 Conquest on Gulf of Oman, also known as the map. Now you see me, now you don't, based on the massive sandstorm that rolls through a little bit too early in the ticket count, in my opinion, which is really going to help me because I need close quarter battles because I'm using the most awkward class of weapons in Battlefield 4, the ones that have been going through an identity crisis since this game came out. That's the PDW, specifically the MPX. By now, most of you guys are aware that there's been a fall patch on all the platforms, both current gen and old gen, along with PC, and they messed with the close quarter damage of everything. Pretty much every gun takes an extra bullet to kill at close quarter ranges, except for this guy. This guy's still a 4-bullet kill. That means it's outshooting something like an AEK at close range, as long as they're all chest shots, because an AEK does 24 damage per bullet instead of the old 25. The max damage on this weapon is 26, which really comes in handy because it severely lacks, just like a lot of the PDWs, at the medium and longer ranges. I've openly talked about PDWs in Battlefield 4 and how it's been a deadly combination to have a lot of horizontal recoil partnered with horrific damage fall off. You literally have to plink at people downrange and you're hitting them for 15, 13, or even less damage depending on what PDW you're using. Partner with the horizontal recoil, it takes you a long time to get that kill, and oftentimes it makes sense not to shoot people at range, as you see me laying off that guy that just spawned in, because I need him to get closer to the strength of this weapon. And you're going to see that multiple times as this footage plays. I'm really trying to play to the strength of the MPX, which is don't get baited shooting people at long distances. Let them come to you, basically. As I spawn in a tank who rolls back into a container full of NGs looking to get that ass shot. And they're still into the container. So let's talk about the MPX and why I like this PDW. The 26 damage up close and personal, up to 12.5 meters. A lot of assault rifles and carbines start having their fall off at around 8 to 10 meters. This one does not. It's 12.5 meters. So if they're within 12.5 meters, you can still 4-shot them in the chest. That means a very, very quick time to kill. Now, it only has 26 in the mag, but as you see me pile driving through reloads, the reloads can be extremely quick. 2 seconds and then 2.7 if empty. Remember, if that AEK empties, that's 3.5 seconds. An eternity before you have a mag back in your gun to burst and dump again. This says very snappy and very quick reloads, which makes it a very forgiving gun to use up close and personal. And I don't want to eat another bolt action to my left big toe, so I'm going to move around this corner. The 850 rounds per minute is not bad. The muzzle velocity is only 340, and a lot of the muzzle velocities have been tweaked on the PDWs. They've been increased, whether they're the suppressed muzzle velocity or the base muzzle velocity. There's just too many downsides to these PDWs to really make sense to use at all. But I found that the MPX is very good to use if you have the ability to spawn in on burning flags. Whenever you choose to do that, you're usually very close to the flag. Would I use this weapon running across the field on Oman? Probably not. Can I use this weapon going flag to flag on these back caps over here? Absolutely. There's tons of cover to play on. There is tons of stuff, but on the beach side, probably not. I'd probably go to the AK-5C, a carbine of choice, which is definitely better at medium and longer ranges. But if I can get the players within 20 or so meters, then I can do all right. Just remember, whenever using a PDW, or specifically the AS-Val or the MPX, don't get baited in the longer shots. Remember, if you're standing perfectly still, that's when the gun is most accurate. But think about this. If you're standing perfectly still on a map like this and you're plinking at somebody at long distance, you are sniper bait. LMG bait, assault rifle bait, carbine bait. So remember, your time to kill is lengthened means you're also holding that line of sight, usually just a little bit longer. So it's something to take in mind. It's great to run and gun with the PDWs, several of them. And I've talked about the AS-Val, even though that's been changed just a little bit as I'm trying to get this lock on this guy who's actually repairing his own boat. So that's why you actually don't see a damage indicator there or a damage point value there. So here I'm going to sit tight. I see on the mini-map the bad guys are coming, and I want to make sure that they're in the powerhouse of this weapon. So instead of peeking long at those longer distances where I'm definitely giving them the advantage, I know I'm the only guy alive. I've got one teammate spawning on me, and that's simply not enough. So it's all about me getting the advantage and not giving those 3 or 4 or 5 guys the advantage, which definitely have better long-distance-based weapons than I have. Overall, I like the MPX, but all these PDWs have strict limitations. They're basically close-quarters weapons, and that's about it. And these battlefield maps, a lot of them are too big. Is this a great weapon to spawn in on the flag and do some damage? Absolutely. But do I want to be using this weapon running from flag to flag in an open field? Absolutely not. But it is a lot of fun to use up close. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this round of Gulf of Oman using the MPX, which has been slightly tweaked after the fall patch. Let me know what you guys think about this. What's your go-to PDW? Is there such a thing in Battlefield 4? Or is it a very limited selection right now? Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you soon.